Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. The Brian Craig Show podcast is brought to you by Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing, who will never sell you a roof you do not need. Online at laportaroofing.com. All right, Kamala Harris. A couple things about her. This is really amazing. I saw a guy interviewed on Right Side Broadcasting today. Okay, he was at the Trump rally, and I didn't catch the intro, and they didn't say who he was at the end, because, you know, some of the right side people are like they're not like professional reporters. They're very good, but you know what I mean? They don't think about things like that sometimes. So I didn't catch his name, and he made such a great point about Kamala Harris that I want to talk about. He said she's dangerous, and he gave some reasons why, which I want to talk about. And then, Kathy, you were telling me something a little while ago about Kamala Harris that I don't think many people know about. Very few people know about this thing you were talking about. We'll get to that second. So this guy is a Border Patrol person. I'm not exactly what he does for Border Patrol, but I know he's Border Patrol. He's a top guy. Maybe he's the union chief or something. I didn't get his introduction. And he said, if you look at the Biden White House, everyone at the Biden White House is an activist, right? And they're an activist in favor of having no southern border of the United States, right? This is and when Kamala ran for president, I don't know too much about it. The first time I really saw Kamala in action was during the Kavanaugh hearings. And you know, then she was making a move to run for president because she was really going after Kavanaugh, if you remember, in the Kavanaugh hearings. And that's the first time she was really on my radar. I'd heard of her before, but she was like in the background noise. And he had said when she decided she was going to run for president, instead of standing for something, she just got on the wave of the activist. And that applies to the border. They're not for an open border. They're for eliminating the southern border, all right? And that goes for what's going on with her buddying up with all these Palestinian terrorist sympathizers and stuff. He said that she stands for nothing, that she just grabs on whatever populist, Democrat, liberal, activist wave is in vogue at the time and rides that wave. And that's dangerous. And you know what? He's right. And that just really got me thinking about, I never really quite thought of it that way. She's a woman who stands for the, you know,
you can tell when she talks that she has zero convictions. She just, I don't want to be crude, but she just talks out of her ass, basically. Yeah. And she really doesn't believe what she's saying or even know what she's talking about. She's stupid. There's nothing upstairs, okay? I think when she talks and gives speeches, she makes no sense. I really think there's nothing going on up there. I think she just tries to imitate Barack with these stupid, empty platitudes and nonsensical
that make no sense.
We look back to go
gibberish.
Forward, and I mean, exactly
gibberish.
So this is a woman who really is. I mean, when she got her campaign bus, she started singing "The Wheels on the Bus."
That's right. Go round and round.
I mean, she's like almost retarded. It seems like. And this woman, you were going to bring up.
Well, we'll get to that in a second because I want to talk about this a little more. See, you know, most politicians stand for something.
Yeah. Okay? No, I don't know what she stands for other than.
Like Biden stands for getting his family rich and being corrupt. So you know what he's about. You know.
You mean like why is she there?
Well, no, not at all.
What's her motivation?
No,
I don't feel like she's in this for to help anybody.
Obama stood for some, you know, nationalized health care, right? Obamacare. You know, every president usually stands for something. You either agree with it or you don't, but you know what they stand for. Kamala stands for nothing. All she's kind of like she's perfect for this new generation that cares about clicks, likes, and views and such, and retweets and
tennis shoes.
All she wants to do is do what is popular to elevate her popularity to whatever she's trying to achieve. So when you have someone who is a president of the United States, which she's not going to be, but if say she was, to have a president of the United States that stands for nothing other than placating whatever popular in vogue trend is going on, that's dangerous. That's not policy.
I don't think she's even that clever.
Oh.
She's silly. I think you're giving her even too much credit with that. I'm telling you, there's nothing upstairs, and she's a goofball.
Well, I agree with that, too.
She's goofy. She's silly. She's always giggling and laughing, and she's not serious at all.
I think she's.
The way they're treating her, I can't even stomach it. How they're promoting her and lying about her.
Yeah,
like she's the greatest thing. Like she's the savior, and she's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Don't worry about that.
It's unwatchable.
So I think she's high on CBD. I think she takes CBD gummies, like those Cheech and Chong gummies.
High on some because she is one happy lady.
So then the other, so she stands for that makes her very dangerous, standing for nothing. So this other thing you had brought up, we were not on the show. This was before we did the podcast here, and this is something we've talked about in the past, but not for a long, long, long time. And no one in the media has ever covered this aspect of Kamala Harris's life. Mm-hmm. Kamala Harris did not grow up in the United States. She was born in California, and she did start elementary school in California. But when she was very, very young, when she was about 9, 10, or 11, okay, her parents divorced, and her mother took a job. I think it was a teaching job, but her mother took a job in Canada and moved Kamala to Canada when she was between 9 and 11, 10 or 11. And Kamala, and those are your formative years, that 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, that's when you form your thing. She spent her entire time, that point forward, growing up in Canada.
Right.
She came back to the United States for college and has stayed here with us. So she doesn't understand what this country is about.
No.
She doesn't.
She has no loyalty to this country.
She has no loyalty to this country.
No.
She doesn't understand American culture, tradition. She doesn't understand our holidays. She doesn't understand the significance of anything. The U.S. southern border with Mexico, there's a long, I'm not going to go through the history, guys, okay? You guys can, look it up yourselves. There's a long, long history of conflict between the United States and Mexico that it started with when Texas became a, part of the United States, but from the Texan Revolution to now, there has been pretty much a nonstop conflict. I want you to think about this. There's been a nonstop conflict with Mexico almost on the southern border of the United States and Mexico since the early to mid 1800s. We even had a war with Mexico, a lot of which involved the border issue, okay? Kamala Harris has no American view of things. And there have been presidents like John McCain, who was not born in the United States, born on U.S. military bases and things, but they were raised by Americans, and then they moved back here. She is the first vice president of the United States, and she's not the nominee yet, but she's the presumed nominee. It could change, but right now she's the favorite,
No, I think it'll be her.
It looks like it's going to be her, but you never know.
Too late for them to do anything
You never know with these people.
No.
But she's the first vice president of the United States, certainly in any of our lifetime, probably forever. And if she's the nominee for the Democrats, she'll be the first nominee for president of one of the major parties that does not have an American viewpoint on these things. The border and all these things that we're facing, she has no understanding. She doesn't relate to it because she was not raised an American. She was raised a Canadian, an African Canadian, by an Indian mother, right? So she doesn't even understand what it means to be an American. She doesn't have the shared culture, values, or history that we have. And this may come out before the election and people talk about it. I think we're the first, but anybody that does it's going to be labeled racist and such. They don't want you to talk about
sexist.
That. But it is true. And I'd very much like to hear what you all think about that. Let us know in the comments on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Then there was another thing that they started to – I'm not going to play any sound bites of this. I'll just tell you guys about it. I was going to. It started with an Axios reporter, And it's spreading like wildfire among Democrats today, including David Axelrod, that Kamala Harris was not the border czar. You see, it's all over. That Kamala Harris was not the border czar, they're telling us. They're saying it on CNN. They're saying it on Axios. Liberals are all over social media saying she was not the border czar. Biden never made her the border czar. He just sent her down there to take a look at things once. And, of course, we all know she's the border czar. He appointed her the border czar. This was talked about at length. It's textbook gaslighting.
Yeah, well, that's what they like to do.
You know,
or in other words, lying, just flat out lying.
People use gaslighting nonstop, and most of the time they use it, it doesn't apply. Gaslighting, this probably isn't the exact definition probably, but gaslighting is telling you something you know to be a fact is not true.
The problem is, like, Axios put out that she was never the border czar, and then people quickly posted screenshots of the actual article from Axios that labeled her the border czar years ago.
Yeah.
So the problem with the gaslighting now is people have receipts.
Yes.
And they can show them. And because Elon Musk is letting Twitter have a free-for-all, there's no censorship or anything, and it's all getting out there about her. And now they're saying she's going to choose Buttigieg. She's
got two people on her VP
I hope
list.
So.
One's Buttigieg.
He's a disaster.
And the other one is the governor of Pennsylvania who had sued Trump and went against the Trump campaign and stuff like that.
Oh, my gosh.
Who knows?
It'll be Mayor Pete. He's more well-known. And he's gay. He's got, believe me, I mean, this is how they think. So,
yeah.
Megyn Kelly said, there's no way America, and these are her words, will elect this Nimrod.
I agree with that.
That's a word from the 80s, by the way.
Is it? I thought it was older than that.
Maybe. But we used to use it in the 80s, to be president. I hope to God she's right. She said she has faith in the American people. I do too. But there's a lot of stupid people out there, and there's a lot of people that I am worried that were starting to swing towards Trump, and now they're swinging back because
not at all.
They want to, well, I hope you're right, but you never know, because they want to be a part of history, and they'll I mean, this is why people voted for Barack Obama that weren't even like supporters of him, because I remember people saying this, well, this is significant, this is historic, and I want to be a part of it. I want to say I voted for him. There are people that will vote just based on that alone, that she's a woman and that she's a woman of color, regardless of her radical thoughts of how she. I mean, I just the thought of her being president is the most scary thought compared to anybody that's been a Democrat. Because she literally has no soul and no children. By the way,
I totally disagree with you on this. Okay,
I hope you're right.
When Obama was, it's hard to believe, but Obama was elected 16 years ago. It's a long time, huh? 16 years ago. Oh, my goodness. It's crazy. But when he was running in 2008, things were going pretty well in the country, okay? Now it's a complete disaster. The border's a big one, and she's the border czar. And if you remember in the primary, every primary voter interviewed by every channel in every primary, what's the most important issue? The border, border security, the border. Illegals, and a lot of other things like inflation. Inflation. I had to buy something. This is crazy. The battery in my car went dead this morning. So before I went to work, so I take Kathy's car today, and anytime I have a battery problem, I just call AAA, and they'll come out and you get a new battery from AAA. I always buy batteries from AAA because it costs the same as if you went to the store to buy it, and they put it in for you, but they also do a test to make sure your alternator everything's okay. And the last time I bought a battery from AAA was a few years ago. It was like 2018 or 19, so it's been 5 years. And I remember how much I paid for that battery because I had the receipt in the glove box with my owner's manual. It was $125. $125, okay? And I had that battery replaced today. So it's been, let's see here, 6 years, 5 years, 6 years.
Wow.
And it's pretty good lasting battery.
That's a good battery.
$250. It was $125. It
was $250 today.
$250 for the battery.
Wow. That's a lot.
And I asked the guy, I said, what is that? Is this some special battery? It was the same battery that I was having replaced.
Wow.
Same brand from AAA, same everything.
I remember we're going back to the 90s, but I remember when a battery would be $50 from Sears.
That's the difference in, well, that was a long time ago, Kathy, but that's the difference between the cost of something.
Still seems like it shouldn't be that high.
No, but that's how bad inflation has hit because the last time I bought a battery, Trump was in office. Now he's not, right? And that's what's happened.
Crazy.
So, inflation has hit everything. So Obama was running in a time when everything in the country was going very well. The war on terror was there, but Iraq was winding. It wasn't heated. It wasn't like in 2004 when things were really heated with the insurgency in Iraq and all that stuff. The economy was doing well. There were no major problems when Obama ran. Okay, so he breezed through because of that. Right now, we're as close to an economic depression as we have ever been in any of our lifetimes because the Depression era people are gone. The inflation is out of control. There's no U.S. southern border. Crime is up like mad because of the illegals and the fentanyl that Obama, or might as well be Obama, that the Biden, Kamala Harris administration are bringing in.
The border frightens me more than anything. I mean, inflation's bad, and I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
But I feel that inflation, is usually transitory. I mean, there was high inflation in the 70s with Carter. When I was a kid, I remember my mom and dad talking about it and things like that. And that usually ebbs and flows, whatever. But the border thing is what's keeps me up at night. Because if Kamala wins, our country's done. Our country's done.
She's not going to win.
I mean, I hope you're right.
I'm not worried about it at all.
I do worry. And
not worried.
It is so important to vote for Trump this election and not be complacent and not assume that nobody's going to vote for Kamala and just be complacent. Don't do that. It is so important. I literally feel like our country depends on this because he's not going to run again. This is it. He's done. He's retiring after this. And, why would he want to at the fourth time? I mean, it's a lot. I mean, he took a bullet, for God's sakes. But this is it. There's not going to be anybody like Trump ever in our lifetime. So if he doesn't win and she does, I don't even know. I might just turn off the TV and never watch the news again. It would scare me. They are going to have a socialist, communist revolution not like a violent revolution, but they're going to change the country like you've never seen a change before. They're going to let in so many people through the border. You think it's bad now? It's going to be 3 or 4 times as much. They will want to change this country socially, demographically, economically. They're going to bankrupt everybody.
You know what it'll be like, Kathy?
I mean, it's going to be.
Let me tell you,
it's awful to think about it.
Why don't you think about this?
We're already at the breaking point.
Think about this, and I don't think this is an exaggeration. She's not going to win, but if Kamala were the president, it would be like Joy Reid running the country.
Yeah, this is. Now, either I could be wrong about her because she comes out giggling and silly and laughing, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she's really a very serious, dangerous woman who has a very strong agenda. And this lovey-dovey persona is an act.
Good.
Okay?
You never know.
That's possible, too. Like Barack Obama, he's so cool, and everybody thinks he's such a nice, laid-back guy. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, something else is going on. So you can't always trust what you see. Nobody can be that stupid and be in the position she's in. Know. I mean, there's got to be something that we don't see or don't know about her.
I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much. Remember, those of you that are Patreon supporters, make sure you go to the Patreon page. It's linked in the description of every episode, and there's a lot of content that no one else has access to. If you would like to support the program by becoming a Patreon supporter, you can click that link in the episode description. It'll walk you through how to do it. And there are many, many perks. One of them, our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Richard, Alice, K-Mac, LeeZep, Shawna, Constance, George, Brandon, Rob and Trish Wilkerson, Christy R., and our newest top Patreon supporter, just became a top Patreon supporter today, John S. Thank you all for your support. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Patriotism isn't just for election years. It's for every day of every year. If you're a proud American who wants to show your love of God, family, and country, check out usartforyou.com. That's USARTFORYOU. With usartforyou.com, you can express your patriotism in style with the exclusive Donald Trump mugshot t-shirts, coffee mugs, and magnets honoring the convicted patriot. Check out the Don't California collection that includes hats, t-shirts, and mugs celebrating great states like Texas and free Florida. Admire America with the American Beauty collection that features stunning artwork showcasing America's splendor, and experience the Holy Land of Israel through the pilgrimage section that's filled with beautiful photo art of Israel. You'll find great gifts for the patriots in your life too. Use the promo code RADIO and save 10% off your order. Express your faith, love of family, and patriotism in style, from canvas to apparel with usartforyou.com. That's USARTFORYOU. usartforyou.com. Are you tired of skincare routines that promise results, don't work, and may be compromising your health without you even knowing it? It's time to wake up and discover the truth with the new book from board-certified dermatologist Dr. Yuval Bibi, MD, PhD. Sick Skin, Skincare Made Simple. Available on Amazon. In Sick Skin, the author shares the shocking truth that the skincare industry is filled with deceptions. How do these products manipulate us into thinking we need them? In Sick Skin, you'll discover the secrets the skincare industry doesn't want you to know, their hidden strategies, the myths, and you will learn to free yourself from the industry's grip. Dr. Bibi also shares the language of your skin to interpret the signals your skin sends you. You'll learn exactly what your skin needs and what to avoid for optimal health. After you read Sick Skin, you'll have the power to take control of your skin's health. Order your copy right now on Amazon. Available in Kindle, paperback, and audiobook. Sick Skin, Skincare Made Simple, from author and dermatologist Dr. Yuval Bibi, MD, PhD. And begin your journey to genuine skin health. Sick Skin, Skincare Made Simple, on Amazon. From author Damian J. Peet comes an epic saga of courage and resilience in the book Legacy of Rebellion. In a universe where the line between oppressors and the oppressed is blurred, Legacy of Rebellion stands as a beacon of hope and defiance. It brings to life an age-old struggle with intricate detail and relentless passion. You'll experience the pivotal first contact that changes everything for humanity, and witness the dramatic rise of the created, a new breed of warriors who are ready to ignite the seeds of rebellion. Will the seeds of rebellion win, or will they be crushed under new chains? Find out when you read Legacy of Rebellion from author Damian J. Peet. Available in Kindle, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Google Play, and other online booksellers. Order your copy right now.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to The Brian Craig Show podcast. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. All right. So Netanyahu, addressing Congress, and Kamala, she won't sit there and listen to it because she doesn't want to alienate her Palestinian supporters in Michigan.
You know what she did instead?
Yeah, she went to her sorority.
She went to a big sorority girl meeting.
Was it her sorority?
I'm not sure. I'm not that familiar with the meeting. She went to Howard University, so I'm sure there were a lot of black universities. Well, probably only black sororities there.
Yeah,
at FSU we had about 8 or 9.
This is really a scary thing because Israel is America's ally. We're one of the few allies Israel has. And this goes back to what I was telling you in the first segment. Mm-hmm. There's this trend with young people that she thinks will vote for her to, be like the Hitler Youth. So she's catering to them, wouldn't go to it. You saw earlier, I didn't see this, but you saw where these Palestinian protesters in Washington, D.C. took down an American flag.
3 now at Union Station, 3 flags.
Okay, the Union Station in D.C., they took down American flags and then raised Palestinian flags?
Yep, and they...
On top of Union Station in Washington, D.C.?
That's right. There's about 3,000 to 5,000. They also broke into the Watergate Hotel where Netanyahu was having a meeting and somehow got in the meeting room and put maggots all over the table.
Oh, my goodness.
They're headed to the Capitol now. I don't know what's going on, but there's like 3,000 to 5,000. I'm sure they won't get in trouble or get arrested for insurrection.
No.
But they're moving to the Capitol. It's a total mess. And while this is all going on, she's meeting with her sorority sisters and having it's insane.
The world's burning.
Fest.
And she's meeting with sorority sisters.
Incredible.
When Netanyahu was speaking in Congress, Tlaib held up a sign that said war criminal. Tlaib is a spy. Everybody knows this. She is a spy. I don't understand how they can toss George Santos out of Congress before his term was up, but not her.
He had a great line. He said, gays for...
Netanyahu had a great line.
Netanyahu. He said, gays for Hamas or Gaza, one or the other. Hamas is like chicken for KFC.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because they don't like gays over there.
So
okay, they throw them off buildings. Stupid people.
I've been following the anti-Semitism of Candace Owens.
Oh yes, it's pretty bad.
And I know some people say, "Oh, give her a break."
She's a Holocaust denier. That's about as hardcore as you get.
Well, there's been a happening with her and the Trump family. Listen to this. This is in Mediaite, which is very left wing. Candace Owens was dropped yesterday from an event with Don Jr. that was promoted with the Trump 2024 official campaign logo. Candace Owens, who recently cast doubts on key facts related to the Holocaust. This is Mediaite, they're very liberal. Holocaust denier. She said she didn't believe it. She said, why would Dr. Mengele do these things? She said this. We played it on the show. Candace Owens, who recently cast doubt on key facts related to the Holocaust, was announced on Monday to appear at an event sponsored by a group called MAGAA, MAGA, which stands for Make America Great Again. Late last week, Don Jr. shared that he would be participating in the event, which at the time did not show Owens as a panelist. It was billed as a fireside chat about Bitcoin. Trump's doing a lot reaching out to cryptocurrency people. And that's advice he's getting from Charlie Kirk and Vivek Ramaswamy.
What is that about? Do you think that's good advice? I mean, I thought crypto was kind of out.
What's that about? A lot of young people are really into crypto. That's what that's about. Don Jr. wrote on X, Make America Great Again has a nice ring to it. And he showed a flyer promoting the event, which was also hyping a new crypto token. Later, a new flyer was released showing Candace Owens added to the program. But her image was dropped again on Tuesday after a fierce backlash to the event, which was reported on Monday. Jewish Insider's Matthew Casel reported on Candace Owens being dropped, noting she's no longer attending a Trump campaign fundraiser in Nashville on Friday. After her participation drew fierce backlash from conservative critics and Jewish allies of President Trump.
It's and
she was going to be involved in an onstage event with Don Jr.
How many days before she comes out and starts trashing Trump again? How many days do you think that's going to happen?
I'm surprised
very soon.
She probably doesn't have it up already.
And I wouldn't be surprised if she starts backing Kamala.
Yeah,
I really wouldn't.
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
She's an opportunist, and fame is slowly slipping through her fingers. And she is desperate to get back her glam squad and get back all the living that life she lived at the Daily Wire, probably driven around in a limousine and all this stuff. And she's really destroyed her career. And I think her attacks on Israel are more about Ben Shapiro than anything. I think she hates him. She's bitter. They have an ongoing feud. And I think what's driven her hatred towards the Jewish community is really about him more than anything.
I agree.
And she's not very intelligent. This is what happens when you're an egomaniac. You don't see the big picture and you make it all about you and you become self-destructive because you can't step back and say, you know what, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe this is going to destroy my life and career. Instead, you think you're so important that everything you say matters and is going to be taken well. And that's not the case. There are things bigger than her in this world and in this life. And Don Jr., he really has a lot of influence in the campaign, more than I knew he had a lot, but I mean, if he's cutting her out, he helped pick J.D. Vance. I think he is working directly with Charlie Kirk. And the crazy thing is Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens used to be tight. Yeah. And she's trying to get back in with that, and that's not happening. Charlie Kirk isn't, I promise you, hanging out with Don Jr. and helping them. And he might have said to Don Jr., you can't bring her in. She's a Holocaust denier.
A Holocaust denier.
You know, Charlie Kirk's a big Jewish supporter.
That's the worst kind. You know, this happened to, who was the conservative, very good conservative, Michelle Malkin. Michelle Malkin got tied up with one of those anti-Semites.
Yes. And look what happened to her.
And she's out now. This thing with Candace Owens and Don Jr., I'm glad this happened. When this started happening with her Holocaust denial a few weeks ago, I told you she cannot be associated with the MAGA movement. It's just she cannot be. And if you watch, you were talking about her glam squad, Kathy, that she had at the Daily Wire. She had a glam squad that did her hair, makeup, nails. If you watch her new podcast she's doing herself, her nails look awful. They all need fillers. I don't know about how women do that, but you know how you can see.
Yeah, you get acrylic nails. They have to fill them every 2 weeks.
The fillers, her nails are not being kept up. And I was on the last podcast I had mentioned, if you look on one of her episodes this week, she's doing her own hair and makeup. Her face looked green, and it was a different color than her neck and the rest of her, and it looked strange.
And that's a problem with lighting too. Yeah, she doesn't have the proper lighting, and you showed me that video, and she does look green, and that is all. I mean, the reason I'm kind of like making fun of her having a glam squad because she made a video about it when she first signed on with Ben Shapiro. She made a whole video of them doing her hair and makeup and dressing her like she was Nicole Kidman.
Oprah. It was like Oprah.
I mean, it was ridiculous. And that's when I stopped liking her because I'm like, this is just, she's like, thinks she's like, some Oscar winner Meryl Streep here. It's absurd. There's no humility with this woman. But I think she's had a big serving of humble pie.
I don't think so.
And the fact that, we'll see. But the fact, when people stop answering her phone calls, she will. And the fact that Charlie Kirk, who used to be very tight with her, who's now with Don Jr., and they're not letting her back in, that says a lot. That says a lot because they are old friends.
I told you this would happen.
Yeah, she's stupid.
We cannot tolerate anti-Semitism. And supporting Israel is not the same as this Ukraine garbage that's going on, okay? It's not the same. It's not the same. I'm not going to go through it now. I've talked about it a lot.
I mean, Trump, he is so tight with Netanyahu, and he went over there. You know how many kids are named after Donald Trump that were born when he was president?
Oh, in Israel?
A lot. I remember they did a story on in the news because he took the capital back to Jerusalem and the Golan Heights and did all this stuff. They love him over there. Mm-hmm. He's very tight, and his family, a lot of them are Jewish, so you can't have that.
Okay, Trump. Now, what's going on with the Democrats, there's a big update with the Democrat nomination process and convention. What they've done with this nomination process is completely insane. Kamala Harris did not get one vote in the primary, and they're about to nominate her. They have disenfranchised every Democrat voter in every primary in all of America's 50 states and our territories. Okay? She wasn't on the ballot. Okay? She didn't get one vote, and now they've just given it all to her. It's a major disenfranchisement. Now, listen to this. The Democrat National Committee Rules Committee voted Wednesday, today. They've changed the rules, right? They changed the rules to hold a virtual roll call to nominate their party nominee instead of waiting for the convention. The virtual vote adoption means that Kamala Harris will on August 7th, be the nominee officially. So they are going to nominate someone who didn't get a single vote in the primary.
Yep.
They're going to do it virtually. The reason they're doing it virtually ahead of the convention is because they're afraid of negative press taking the nomination away from her, so they're rushing it through and doing it before the convention.
But Trump's the threat to democracy.
Exactly.
It's just incredible.
Kamala's got a lot of problems, but her biggest problem is this. For the last 4 years, because she was running for president, remember, and then she's been vice president, she's done nothing but give interviews and speak to groups saying incredibly radical things. And these clips are all available in HD 4K. Biden, a lot of the stuff with Biden that people bring up are like what he did during Clarence Thomas. I mean, that's 1991. Some of the things he did were in the 70s and in the 80s. That's forever ago. These things with Kamala are recent, right?
How do you think Trump should handle her?
Well, and let me finish with this. So all of these things about Kamala, like I give you an example. What I played many on the show today, but these are going to be endless because she's been talking for 4 years to different groups. All she does is like she did today with the black sorority at Howard. She goes to groups every day and speaks, and she says crazy stuff, and these things are leaking out. There was one clip I played to her of her today where Don Lemon on CNN was interviewing her and said, Don Lemon asked Kamala Harris, should the Boston Marathon bomber and sex offenders have their voting rights restored? And she said, that is a conversation that we need to have. That's only one of many things that have already come out today. She's talked so much with these radical, crazy ideas. It's an endless stream of things from her. She is dangerous, Kathy. She's dangerous.
I know why. That's what I was talking about before. That it's keeping me up.
Well, that's why. That's why they're doing this virtual nomination. If they get her, they're afraid that in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so much garbage of nonsense that she said is going to come out that she's going to be like run out of town. So they want to secure the nomination.
It is amazing to me. A friend of mine texted me about all this, and she said, I don't know how Democrats sleep at night.
That's for sure.
And I said, you know what it is? How did I put it? I put it in such a good way, now I can't remember.
It was so good you forgot.
They believe their own lies. Okay, I know what it is. They believe their own lies so much, they don't know where the truth ends and the lies begin anymore.
Yeah.
Because they're lying so much now that, your brain changes, okay? It's called neuroplasticity, and I've read books about it. It's very interesting. Your brain changes according to how you act, what you expose yourself to, what you say, things like that. It actually creates new neural pathways and all this stuff. When you spend years and years and years lying, manipulating, and things like that, your brain changes, not in a good way. And you start believing your own lies. And they do this initially, you get sucked in. It's power and money. Power, it's like a drug. And access. And then after a while, they rationalize it and convince themselves this is for the greater good. Okay, this is like Jean-Pierre. That woman lies on a daily basis, one lie after. You know why? Because she wants a job on The View or on MSNBC. That is all she is thinking about, is getting a network job, hosting a show and making millions of dollars. And this is, in her mind, like Jen Psaki, this is her ticket. So she will lie and do whatever she has to do. And then you go down that rabbit hole and you don't realize what's true anymore. And you live in that bubble of lies. And that's the way it is. And when you're on the outside of that, you look at it and you're like, how do these people, like my friend said, how do they even sleep at night? People will rationalize anything they do. And and that's just the human brain. You know what I mean? You could be even Hitler rationalized his behavior. And the Nazis, they rationalized what they were doing so they could sleep at night.
Yeah.
Well, the Jews are horrible and they're not even human. Slave owners too. how did they sleep at night? Because people rationalize things and they make it okay. Their behavior's so bad, so abhorrent, but somehow they rationalize it and make it okay for them. And eventually that's your new reality.
Yep.
And you become something that you wouldn't even recognize if you step back and looked at yourself.
You asked what control. I came up earlier today with what I think would be a brilliant idea for Donald Trump on how to handle Kamala.
To handle her, like in the debate.
They're going to do at least one debate, maybe two. Fox News has already approached both campaigns to set one up for September. And this is what I suggested. I think Donald Trump should do a redo of what he did during the one Hillary Clinton debate with the press conference. I think before the debate, President Trump should have a press conference with the mother of Lincoln Riley and other mothers and fathers whose family members have been murdered by illegals that have come here since Kamala has been the border czar, and have a press conference with him right before the debate. I think that she has no answer to that. There's no gobbledygook, cackling answer filled with vacuous platitudes that she could give that would make any of that sound like anything other than what it is. And I think that's what to do at the debate, and just go after that over and over again, because that would be that'd be devastating for her. What do you think? That's a good idea?
I think they'll definitely harp on that, and she's going to harp on abortion, but I don't think that's going to give her much mileage.
Yeah,
just doesn't seem to be that big of a deal anymore.
No, that's like arguing beta or VHS.
Yeah, they'll harp on the border, and he should really look into her record as a prosecutor and talk about that, and really start. I'm sure he is research her and get as much information about her as possible, and just be very, very well prepared. And I'm sure he will be with her history and her thinking. And she has said other things that are outrageous about, like you said, about they asked if the Boston bomber should be able to vote and stuff. I mean, that's crazy.
That's crazy talk. That's insane.
So, yeah, I'm just wondering what his demeanor should be.
Would that mean also for like Nicholas Cruz, the Parkland shooter, if the Boston bomber can vote, can't he? I mean, they're
the party of criminals.
She's crazy.
They're all like that.
Her ideas that are on tape in the last couple of years are insane.
They literally deposed a president, and nobody voted for this woman. And they've taken over the party, and they're acting like this is all okay. But
yes,
they tell you that Trump is the threat to democracy and that we're the threat. But that's what they do. They whether they knowingly do it or not, they accuse their opponents of it's called projection. Mm-hmm. It's called projection, and they're full of it. They're full of projection. That's all they do, is all the horrible things, and that's another way they sleep at night. All the horrible things they do, they project it onto others, so it's off of themselves.
That's right.
And that's another way of absolving yourself of any responsibility.
That's right. Listen, we're going to take our last break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Back after this.
How would you like to live a healthier, more vibrant life? You can with TheNatureHill.com, your trusted source for natural supplements and organic herbs. TheNatureHill.com believe that nature provides everything we need to achieve optimal wellness. Inspired by century-old traditions as well as modern science, they've curated the finest natural supplements and organic herbs to nurture your body, your mind, and your spirit. With TheNatureHill.com, you'll experience the power of nature with their carefully curated selection of products that support your well-being from the inside out. Whether you're looking to boost your immunity, enhance your energy, or find balance, TheNatureHill.com has the natural solutions you're looking for. Explore their wide range of natural supplements and organic herbs online at TheNatureHill.com. Order now and take the first step towards a healthier, more vibrant you. TheNatureHill.com, nurturing your body, your mind, and your spirit. TheNatureHill.com. You're in business and you have a website, but what good is that website if your potential customers can't find it? How would you like to grow your website traffic organically and draw new customers to your company? Of course you would, but how do you do it? That's where Hablight Media comes in. Hablight Media does everything from organic traffic generation to content creation, social media marketing, and that's just the beginning of what they can do for you and your business. Hablight Media does more than just boost your online visibility. They transform local businesses just like yours entrepreneurs into digital success stories. They'll strategically place your brand in the spotlight across multiple platforms, driving not just visibility, but sustainable sales growth. With their experts, your website will thrive with increased organic traffic. Let Hablight Media elevate you and your online presence right now so you can achieve your business goals. Go to their website and schedule a consultation. HablightMedia.com. That's HABLYTE. Receive a 10% discount when you mention Brian. Transform your business with results that last with HablightMedia.com. Did you know that in the United States, stillbirth affects 1 in 160 pregnancies each year? The Stillbirth Prevention Advocate, from author Uvelka Magdalena, explains the stillbirth experience, breaks the silence, and amplifies the voices of suffering families. On July 12, 2024, President Biden signed the Maternal and Child Health Stillbirth Prevention Act, highlighting the need for support and education to save more babies. This important book offers trauma-informed care strategies and guides family members, medical staff, healthcare professionals, doulas, and prenatal experts in avoiding burnout while also navigating secondary trauma of stillbirth and practicing mindful self-care so they may continue to effectively be aware and support families navigating this traumatic loss. Available on Amazon, the Stillbirth Prevention Advocate empowers people globally with knowledge that can be used from the moment you read the first chapter to make a real difference in the lives of any family navigating grief and loss. Get your copy today and join the movement to stop preventable stillbirth and educate by raising more awareness. The Stillbirth Prevention Advocate, from author Uvelka Magdalena, on Amazon.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. So the FBI head, Christopher Wray, testified in front of Congress today and, about the assassination of Trump. And President Trump posted on Truth Social.
The attempted assassination.
The attempted assassination of Trump, yes.
You said assassination.
Well, the assassination attempt, I meant to say.
Yes.
No, it's upsetting.
Thank God he's okay.
I'm wearing this shirt I got that has the picture of Trump when he got up off the stage.
Yes.
He said yesterday, President Trump, the Secret Service, one of the reasons he didn't get up so quick, they wanted to put him on a stretcher. They thought he got shot in the chest.
That's right.
And I'm wondering if some of the other bullets hit him. It's been rumored. We haven't gotten confirmation. And I'd like, that suit that he was wearing, I bet you'll be on display in his presidential museum.
Yeah, and hopefully the hat.
Historic suit.
Yeah.
The MAGA hat with his blood on it.
They might have like a mannequin wearing it, with the hat and everything. That'd be cool.
The MAGA hat with his blood on it.
Yes.
But this shirt I'm wearing now, it's a T-shirt with Trump with the fight on it, and I had to take Kathy's car to the dealership to get serviced, and I was surprised how many people came up to me complimenting the shirt.
Yeah, that's an awesome picture.
And not your normal Republican-looking people, people of every color and gender. Well, there's male and female, genders. Hispanic, not Hispanic, black, white. I was very surprised because I was there for a while, and I'm just sitting there, and people are coming up to me and saying stuff about it, which it was pretty cool. But anyway, Chris Wray testified today, and Trump posted on Truth Social after the testimony. He said this: "I watched the congressional hearing today as Christopher Wray was asked the question whether or not he noticed any cognitive degeneration in his many conversations with crooked Joe Biden, and despite the fact that Robert Hur said effectively that Joe Biden is incompetent with little memory, Wray said that it is not something I observed during my interactions with him, which were uneventful and unremarkable."
That's not an answer.
Yeah, essentially stating that he found nothing wrong mentally or physically with Joe.
Wow. If
that is the case, Director Wray should resign immediately from the FBI and stop sweet-talking Congress every time he goes up, which he loves to do, because anybody can see that Joe Biden is cognitively and physically challenged. And if you can't see that, you sure as hell can't be running the FBI. Unless, that is, you want to illegally lead the raid on Mar-a-Lago. Wray has to resign, and now, for lying to Congress.
Has the government ever been this corrupt? before? Do you think ever?
But they used to hide it. Now they're not hiding it anymore. They're like fearless. They're doing it out in the open. Yesterday,
scary.
They brought Biden out on Air Force One, flew him back to Washington from Delaware. He was awake, but even though he was awake and talking, he was somewhere else. I could see it in his face. Mm-hmm. He was out of it.
Yeah.
He was gone.
Yeah.
And there was a reporter. Okay,
like a blank look, a blank
yes,
stare.
a blank. Even though he was talking and walking around, blank. Now, the Charlie Kirk, Laura Loomer story about the medical emergency in Vegas, a reporter wrote a story today. It's on my Twitter, Brian Craig Show on Twitter. They were part of the press pool with Biden that day. They were on Air Force One flying back to the East Coast. Remember, Biden left early, all these emergencies, Charlie Kirk, it's been confirmed by this reporting. Air Force One was flying faster than ever, they said, than they've ever been on it before. When they took off, it flew like straight up like a rocket. It was flying like it was on 9/11, okay? It took off super fast, went straight up to get to altitude right away, and flew across the country to Delaware at a speed so fast they couldn't get out of their seats.
Why were they rushing to Delaware?
I don't buy the COVID story.
But if it was a real emergency, wouldn't they go to the nearest hospital? Why there?
Because they want to keep it. Air Force One,
I guess, to hide.
Not only has doctors on it, there's actually an operating room on Air Force One. I did not know this. They can do, they can actually do operations there. They have a medical team. They took him to his house in Delaware and had the medical people meet him there to hide it. I think he had a stroke. Obviously not a major stroke, but he's had minor strokes in the past, and he was not seen for a week. It was not COVID. They wouldn't be flying at full speed across the United States and leaving in an emergency, flying straight up like a rocket, and then hiding for 7 days with COVID. They would not. They were flying him. That they're trying to keep his condition secret, and there was something that they needed that they didn't have on air. This would be my guess. There was something they didn't have on Air Force One that they needed to perform some type of test, a CAT scan or something like that they got lined up for him to do in secret in Delaware. There was some procedure or test.
Maybe he has a CAT scan machine in his house.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe Jill has weekly CAT scans.
Would you be surprised?
No.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Make sure there's a brain still
He
in
needed
there.
something done that they didn't have the ability to do on Air Force One. They didn't want to take him to one of the military hospitals or a regular hospital. So they had to fly there as fast as they could across the country to do it in secret. That would be my guess. It's crazy, Kathy.
So many things going on that we're being lied to.
We're being lied about everything.
And I'm sure their thinking is, need to know basis. If they don't need to know it, then. But these are things we do need to know.
Look at this assassin. Okay. So you're telling me that a 20-year-old kid in this day and age has no social media presence?
Yeah.
Come on. He's not on Discord. He's not on like online porn sites. He's not. You know what I mean? He has no digital
they're just
footprint.
not telling you.
And there was a story today that said his home was completely wiped clean. Really? He lived with his parents. I don't know exactly what that means.
What does that mean?
It was vague.
Digitally or physically?
Like they wiped out all evidence had been cleaned up. There was nothing there. It was like an operating room. And that's very suspicious to me because he lived with mommy and daddy, right? At least I think they haven't.
Yes.
They haven't told us really anything. It's been a week and a half, and we haven't really learned anything about the assassin, have we?
No.
They're covering up everything involving that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when they have these hearings and they talk to them, they don't give you any answers on anything.
The Secret Service director resigning, everybody thinks that's a victory. That was a tactical move.
No, exactly.
To try to end the discussion.
That's exactly right. Yeah,
she's a private citizen now.
Yeah, that's exactly
Congress can
why
still
she had to
subpoena
resign.
her.
Yeah,
but it cooled things down a little bit not having her in that job. It was just a tactic. So no, there is a major cover up. We still haven't gotten any information on the man in the gray suit.
No,
who went on the roof after the incident, showed no identification, no credentials, no badge, said he was the ATF, and they gave him all this evidence. I mean, what's going on?
I don't know. I mean, something's going on. But they're going to keep us in the dark for sure.
The government has always been corrupt.
What would
I don't
have happened
think this corrupt, though. And never open about it.
What would have happened, God forbid, if Trump had died?
Oh, my gosh.
Okay. How would they have handled it? Say all the other variables are the same. Okay. But the only thing that changed is that he died. He got killed. How would they have handled this in the aftermath? Were they thinking like that? Were they thinking, or were they just doing things? I don't know. I mean, it seemed like this kid was planning this for a while. He had a drone. I'm sure he went there to the area.
Kathy, there was this,
he knew exactly where to go.
We were talking on the last.
He had bought explosives
Kathy,
weeks ahead of time.
On the last podcast, we were talking that he was in communication with someone whose cell phone had a location pin at the FBI building.
Near the FBI building.
Or either in or outside of it.
Right.
Okay? On that block, on the block of the FBI building.
So were they trying to make it look like some lone crazy gun? I don't understand what their thinking was, because it was so out in the open.
I'll tell you, this lone gunman thing
so obvious
is BS. They tried it with they tried it with Oswald. And then, there's an but
at least he was hiding in a building.
Well, there's an incredible series on John Wilkes Booth and the Lincoln assassination that's on Apple TV. It was on.
He did it out in the open too, in front of a whole audience.
But what they brought, and I never heard this before, but they brought it up in the miniseries, and I've done some looking into it, and this is something that was talked about at the time of the Lincoln assassination. People believe that Jefferson Davis, the Democrat Confederate president, was behind John Wilkes Booth. He knew John Wilkes Booth.
I totally believe
and was behind the assassination. The Confederate government, which by the way were Democrats.
Yeah, after I saw that, I was like, "There's no way this guy acted alone."
And I've done some looking into it. There's not listen. It was a long time ago. There's not a lot of documents. It was a major cover up, but none of these guys act alone.
No,
John Wilkes Booth, Oswald, and this guy. These are not lone gunmen.
I mean,
they make them look that way.
Jefferson Davis and those guys were just, the war ended, they were just going to walk away.
Exactly.
And be like, okay, we're good. They probably had ideas. We'll kill him and then we'll take over.
And this kid, okay, he may not have realized what he had gotten himself into.
Yeah, because I agree with
because
that.
Remember in that Whitmer kidnapping, the government got involved with those guys and got them worked up.
Another useful idiot.
See, what I think is the most proof of a government conspiracy behind the assassination attempt on President Trump is this.
Yeah.
That not just that he was on the roof, that he was perfectly placed on the roof.
Yeah.
And I mean, how could he know there would be a light Secret Service detail, that they wouldn't be out far enough? They wouldn't have people know. How would he, what are the odds? And what had happened is Jill Biden came to Pennsylvania the same weekend and she took all the Secret Service people.
Brian, the only reason he got spotted was the people spotted him.
That's correct.
Not the police. But they had his picture ahead of time though, for an hour as a person of interest, and that must really be upsetting Trump. Like who is in on this? Who is there anybody who's been protecting me and my family for years and years that knew this was happening, that knew this kid was there and let me go on that stage in the first place?
Well,
I mean, you know what I mean?
Last night on Newsmax, Sebastian Gorka was in for Rob Schmidt, and Sebastian Gorka interviewed President Trump. And Sebastian Gorka asked Trump, he said, "Do you feel safe with your security?" And Trump's answer was shocking. He says, "Well, I guess I've got to feel secure because I got to go through life. If I don't feel safe, what's life?" He's like, "I got to feel safe." I mean, he was like that. To me, that was like, no.
It's like he doesn't want to live in fear.
Yeah.
So
he has no choice.
He has, exactly. But I'm sure he had, but can he hire extra security, private security on top of the Secret Service?
He's a private citizen right now. He's not the president yet.
Then that's what he needs to
but
do.
as president, he can't. But
he can now.
But the obviously, thank the Lord above that the worst did not happen. But if it did, I think there would have been a major government crackdown on people in this country because everyone already believes that it was a government conspiracy. Okay, if the worst would have happened, the people would be flipping out and they would shut down everything.
Well, they didn't want to just kill him; they wanted to kill the whole MAGA movement.
Yeah,
And their thinking is
head of the snake.
That's right. We get rid of him.
It'll fall apart.
It's going to fall apart. It might take a few months, but we'll be done with them. And maybe that's true.
See,
without
this
a leader,
is why.
How do you keep going? Then I think his son might have stepped up, Don Jr.
This is why I have no worries about the election, because God intervened and saved President Trump's life by a quarter of an inch.
For a reason.
Sebastian Gorka said by centimeters. He's from Europe, so you know. But it literally, inches, less than an inch.
0.2 centimeters, which I looked it up because I didn't know.
How many centimeters?
0.8 of an inch. Almost an inch.
0.8 of an inch.
0.8 of an inch.
0.8 of an inch.
Yeah, 0.8 of an inch. So less than an inch from his life. And you can tell in the video when he cocks his head to the right, it's about an inch that he moves his head. He moves it about an inch. You can see it's just a little twitch. And it's just amazing to me that he did it, and then boom, the bullet.
Absolutely.
That was that last shift of shift that saved his life.
Listen, we're out of time for today because the Trump rally is about to start. So we're going to go and watch the Trump rally. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We will talk to you next time.